Good evening. You're watching the news on Croatian television. Although rivers are receding, a state of emergency is still in effect for many areas threatened by flooding. The most critical flashpoints are on the Sava River in the Jasenovac region. Lika, Senj, and Sisak-Moslavina counties also remain under threat. Emergency crews are keeping a close eye on the levees. More than 1,000 firefighters and soldiers are assisting flood control efforts. Rivers are receding in the Sisak area, but the water is very high in Odransko Polje, a floodplain. The overflow poses a threat to communities on the outskirts of Sisak. Basic supplies are being delivered to the most acutely affected areas. Meanwhile, in Lika's Kosin Valley, many homes are still waterlogged. The cold spell has helped slow the influx of water. The Lika River has receded significantly. Here, too, emergency crews are on the ground working to assist local residents.
The water is receding. Crews are getting ready to deliver more generators and fuel to power them. We're going to make the rounds again and check on the population in Gornji and Donji Kosin and Lipovo Polje.
Prime Minister Andrej Plenković's government met today with representatives of the parties that comprise the parliamentary majority. The meeting addressed the ratification of the Istanbul Convention, which is being supported by the HDZ's coalition partners. They have agreed to the proposed explanatory statement the government is tacking on to the ratification bill. The statement is aimed at alleviating the concerns of more conservative MPs.
Do you resent the Prime Minister's decision?
No, not at all. Only an irresponsible person, especially one from the HDZ, can see this as a way to vote against the government that is Plenković. We already made a stupid mistake once a year and a half ago, and hopefully that was the last time we will topple our own government. Of course there will be an explanatory statement because we promised to do that. We want to alleviate the concerns of those who believe that gender ideology appears in the document. The explanatory statement will clarify that Croatia has no obligation to pass legislation or introduce programs into its schools that have anything to do with gender ideology. As far as the SDP is concerned, I am confident that a significant number of SDP MPs will vote in favor of ratifying the Istanbul Convention. The bill will be on the Cabinet's agenda probably tomorrow. It will then probably be sent to lawmakers via regular procedure. That means a debate on the Istanbul Convention is likely to happen right after Easter. We've sped up the process. We accept the explanatory statement in full and believe that it reflects the point and the substance of the convention.
The Social Democrats, the largest opposition party, which has been pushing hard for ratification, now does not appear united on the matter. Some are taking a wait-and-see approach with regard to the explanatory statement.
When the government adopts the bill and lawmakers have seen it, our club of deputies will meet and adopt its position. That position will be binding for all SDP MPs, but I do believe that it will be what we've been working towards and what we had proposed.
With respect to explanatory statements, they are not legally binding. They do not change the substance of the convention. For us, from the very beginning, it is what the convention states that counts, and the exclusive aim of its substance is to provide better protections from women from violence and stronger efforts to fight domestic violence.
Agrokor's government-appointed crisis manager, Fabris Peruško, announced today that the company had reached a deal with its single biggest creditor, Russia's Sberbank. Peruško said a draft of debt settlement terms would be ready by April 10th. He addressed reporters standing next to Sberbank's Sergei Volk, who said that the bank would be returning to the negotiating table.
Under our agreement, we, the special administrators, will recognize Sberbank's claims. In exchange, Sberbank has promised to drop all of their lawsuits, as Mr. Sergei Volk said, within the agreed time frame.
Sberbank is now returning to the table, negotiation table, to reach an agreement on Agrokor debt restructuring. If parties take all the steps as outlined in the roadmap, we will achieve balanced and amicable settlement.
The CEO of the financially troubled fertilizer maker Petrokemija met with government officials today. Đuro Popijac said that the company was looking for the best way to bring its recapitalization process to completion. Asked if the state-owned company would survive if the process failed, Popijac said that he was confident everything would be done to to ensure its survival.
Until we complete this process, I cannot talk about a time frame. The process is ongoing, and unfortunately, it may take a bit longer because of its complexity. If it were that simple, we'd have wrapped this up long ago. But that's why we are here, to find a solution.
Culture Minister Nina Obuljen-Koržinek has addressed her brother's appointment to the top position at the regulatory agency HAKOM. She said that she did not take part in the cabinet meeting when he was named and added that the hiring process had been completely transparent. Earlier this week, SDP MP Bojan Glavašević described the appointment as nepotism.
It's complicated when a member of your family works as a professional. It's always a dilemma because people can't stop doing their jobs just because someone has been named to a public office. I think it's important to consider a person's qualifications and that everyone performs their job professionally. But all of this is public and transparent.
Lawmakers addressed today proposed changes to Parliament's rules of procedure, which are expected to be put up to a vote on Friday. The SDP struck a deal with the HDZ yesterday, dropping hundreds of amendments to the rules in exchange for the HDZ accepting just 2. This has not gone over well with smaller opposition parties who say the rules benefit only the HDZ and the SDP.
The new rules of procedure benefit our 2 largest parties. The opposition will be practically left without any way of proposing legislation because they will have to beg their colleagues from the SDP to put their signatures on a bill. So it is pretty clear what the intention was. I am sorry to see that the new rules of procedure were the product of an agreement between only 2 parties. 2 parties that are constantly in cohabitation and are practically in an informal grand coalition.
In sports, Croatia's women's handball team has suffered its 2nd loss in their 3rd game of qualifications for the European Championships later this year in France. Croatia lost to reigning European champions Norway 25-32.
Thursday's forecast calls for at least partly sunny skies in most of Croatia. It will be cloudier in southern Dalmatia with a chance of rain and sleet along the shore and snow in the Dalmatian hinterland, especially in the afternoon. Lika may also see some traces of snow. Clouds are expected to start accumulating over Slavonia in the evening with a chance of some light snow as well. On the coast, there will be gusty high to gale-force northeasterly winds. Morning lows will range from -8 to -3 in the interior and from 0 to 6 on the coast. The day's highs will be between 1 and 6 degrees inland and between 5 and 10 on the Adriatic. It will be slightly cooler in the mountains. The rest of the week will be mostly dry in the interior with some longer sunny spells with only some light snow in the far east of the country on Friday. The mornings will be cold while daytime temperatures will rise gradually. On the coast, it will be partly to mostly sunny until Sunday, with only a slight chance of rain in the far south. There will still be a high northeasterly on Thursday, but winds will decline gradually on Friday.
And that brings us to the end of the news. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow.